Hey guys, welcome to Flight Deck Studios. I'm going to do a little video here today. And this is kind of a niche deal with the fly-by-wire A32nx landing lights. So if any of you guys fly this plane, you'll know that with the default key bindings for the landing lights, taxi lights, and a couple other switches, in the cockpit, let's go inside there real quick. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 switches that are 3-position switches. Now I've got the Honeycomb Alpha and Bravo, and today we're talking about the Honeycomb Alpha yoke. And I've done bindings for the landing and the taxi lights in FSUIPC 7. And I think this is version 7.2.16, okay? So in Microsoft, the default bindings, they kind of work as expected. So let's go into that right now, into the control options. And as you can see, I'm on the Alpha flight controls. And what we're looking at specifically are the lights. So you can see that I still have my strobes, nav lights, and beacon lights set up in Microsoft. But the landing lights are not bound anymore in Microsoft. So let me go over here to search by input, and I'm going to flip the switch on my yoke, switch panel, and that's button 23, and you can see there's nothing there. I've removed that binding, okay? And the same holds true for button 24. Okay, now these numbers are going to be different in FSUIPC, I believe. I think it's 22 and 23. So basically, any buttons you want to program in FSUIPC, you need to remove the bindings first in the control options in Microsoft Flight Simulator, okay? So let's go back and turn that off. So I think the default, before I did any of this in FSUIPC, when I turned the taxi lights on, the taxi lights would come on and the runway turnoff lights will come on. And that's what I've got right now. I've got them bound through FSUIPC. The only thing I haven't done yet is to get this to go to the takeoff position. And I'll show you real quick what the difference is. Let's go outside. So this light here is the taxi light, and these two down here are the runway lights. So I'm going to turn them off, turn them back on, and there's one more light right over here. That's one of the takeoff lights. So I haven't done that one yet, but just to show you, if I turn that on, you can see now that light's on. That light should come on when I deploy the landing lights. So if you look real close here, you can see that the landing lights are not deployed. They're in a retractable cup that sits up inside the wing. So let me turn those on, and you'll see the landing lights come on, and then they drop down out of the wing. Now they're fully deployed. And this is the problem everybody's been having. They can turn them on and off, but then when they turn them off, watch right here, you can see that's retracting back into the wing. And in real life, I'm sure that's just an aerodynamic, just to keep everything going, the air going across the wing, keep it aerodynamic, keep that landing light out of the airstream, okay? So I don't know of any way that you can do this in Microsoft. Let me turn this off. So if you've got FSUI PC 7, I don't know if he still has a free version. He used to. I don't know if it's still a free version, but I paid $24.99. I think it was at simflight.com or something is where I got it. So basically what I'm going to do here, let me see if I still got it open, is over here in the file, you come to open installation folder. Let me go ahead and close it just so you can see. Come down here to the configuration, which is the ini file, and open that up. Close that now. And this is the configuration file for FSUI PC. And as we scroll down here, the first thing you'll notice is right here. I've set up a profile for the fly-by-wire A32nx. So if you come over here, and I've already set all this up, I'm not going to redo it. It took me a while to get through this. So go to buttons and switches, and you're going to click on this button right here, profile specific. And the first time you do it, it'll say, do you want to create a new profile? And you can click yes, and then just name it FBW A32nx. Okay. So from here on out, you want to make sure that that box is checked for profile specific. So let's pretend these are the 4 lines that we're talking about. Landing lights left on, landing lights right on, and landing lights left and right retract. And the 1 is in the parameters. That's 1 or 0. 1 is on and 0 is off. Okay, but we don't really need to, I just put them all at 1 and it worked. Okay. So you might think that since this is a 3-position switch, that I would also need landing lights left and right off in between here before the retract, but I tried it this way with retract and it shuts them off and retracts them. So I don't know if that's just because it goes past the off and down to retract and turns them off automatically, but this is what worked for me. So let's assume that none of these 4 lines are here yet. Okay. So you come over, you open up your buttons and switch assignment, profile specific, and then you're going to select for FS control. Now what you're going to see here is I'm going to flip the switch on my switch panel on the yoke, and you're going to see button 22. Okay. If you look over here, you got button 22 twice. Okay. So once you've got that button selected, you come over here and you select for FS control, and then you're going to click this drop down box. And here's just a little note. When you click that box or that little drop down list, there's probably 150, 200 variables. This is a variable, an L variable. Okay. So you're going to have to scroll down to presets, landing lights left on, and select it. And then in the parameters, you put 1, and you're going to click OK. So now that you've clicked OK, when you come back over here, let me do it this way. This line is now going to be present. Okay. So you'll see this in the config. What you need to do is go over here and in front of it, put a semicolon. And what that does is it remarks this out of the program reading it. So the program will read it from top to bottom, and when it gets to this one, it won't see it. So you need to come up and do File and Save. Okay. and that will save it with that semicolon there. And then when you come back to FSUI PC, you go to Assignments, Buttons and Switches, and you're going to hit this button right here, Reload All Buttons. You're going to hit that, and the box is going to go away. You might have to go back down here and open it back up, and then click OK. Once you've done that, open this box back up, go back to Buttons and Switches, make sure you're on Profile Specific, and again, you're going to select button 22 in my case. Now, it might be different for you, depending on what type of equipment you've got, but for me, this is what the Honeycomb Alpha produces, as a B22 for the button number. So click Profile Specific, then you're going to come over and select for FS Control, and then down here in the variable, you're going to use the drop-down box, and you're going to find Preset Landing Lights Right On. Parameter, you're going to put a 1, and then you're going to click OK. And that's going to produce this line when you come back to the config file. And again, now I don't know if you need to do this since we're kind of done with this button 22, okay? But go ahead and comment it out with a semicolon. And now we've got these two done, and these two aren't here yet. So now what we need to do is go up, File, Save that file again with the comment, and then you're going to open up Assignments, Buttons and Switches, and you're going to reload all buttons. You got to do this in sequence on each one of these lines. So you got to make sure you save the file in the config, and then come over here after you're done and you've commented it out. When you reload the buttons, what it does is it goes and reads that configuration file again, and what you end up with is basically, if I go down, now we're on button 23. This won't be here, and you can see that this is grayed out, and it's the same on button 22, which is the landing lights are switched up or on, and it's grayed out. Now the reason it's grayed out is because we've got two instances of button 22. If it was just button 22 one time, you could edit this. So right now you cannot edit it. You're done with that, okay? So now we're working on button 23. So again, we're going to do the same thing. After we've saved this file, reload the buttons, hit OK, and open this back up again. Then we're going to do button 23, which is the switch is down or off, okay? And select it for FS Control, and then scroll down through the list until you find Preset Landing Lights Left Retract, and the parameter is 1, and click OK. And again, when you do that, you're going to have to come over here, and now we've got these three lines, and you're going to want to comment that out so that the program can't read it. You're going to go up here, File, Save, come back to Assignments, Buttons and Switches. You're going to reload all buttons again, and it's going to read this file again, and it's not going to see these three, okay? And then you're going to go Profile Specific, or on, and work your button or your switch. So this is button 23 or switch 23. Select it for FS Control, and then this is going to be blank. You drop it down, and you're going to do Preset Landing Lights Right Retract with the parameter of 1, and click OK. So now you should have all 4 of these in your configuration file. Okay, so now what you need to do is go back and remove the semicolon. Okay, and what I did is these numbers were kind of, 57 was up here and 52 was down here, whatever. So I just renumbered them in sequence: 54, 55, 56, 57. So go ahead and do that. I don't know if it's required, but I did it anyway. And then, of course, come up to File, Save. Okay. Then come back over to Assignments, Buttons and Switches. And I'm not sure if you need to do this, but go ahead and reload all buttons and click OK. And now you should have, basically, it's not a true 3-position light. And if you look at the configuration file, there are options to do landing lights left off and landing lights right off. But I just put the retract on there, left and right, and it turns the lights off and then retracts the hub or the light assembly back up into the wing. Okay, so I didn't need to put the off function. So that should work for you as well. So now that file's saved, you can save it again, and we can close that. So let's look at how it works in the cockpit. So taxi lights on, they come to the taxi position, and the runway turnoff lights are on. And then if I click the landing light switch to the up or on position, the landing lights come on. So I'm going to turn them off, taxi lights off, and the only thing you'll notice is the takeoff. Like I say, I'm going to have to rework that switch, and this one. But everything we just did with FSUI PC, you should be able to do basically the same thing on these switches. You just got to remember to go in and create it. And if it's on the same switch, then you have to set that first line, remark it out with the semicolon, save it, reload it, hit OK, and then go back in and on the same switch, do the second line, whatever it might be. So in this case, this is the nav light and logo. So let me see, is that a 3-position switch? I don't think it is. So that might not be a 3-position. It looks like it though. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just not clicking it just right. But at any rate, I guess we can go out and look and see if I can't tell if the logo light's on or not, but you get the general idea. So that's how you do a 3-position switch on the fly-by-wire A32nx. So let's do this real quick. Taxi. And like I say, I've still got to set up that landing light there, which should deploy or turn on when I turn the landing lights on. But it doesn't, so I'm going to fix that. But you get the general idea of how I got to where I'm at, and you can see that those are retracting. And that's the big thing. You can turn them on and off with the default in Microsoft, but you can't get that light bucket to retract back into the wing. So I think that pretty much covers everything about this video. So if I find anything different, I will get back to you with another video. And thanks for watching.